Nepal has created one of the craziest revolutions to ever happen in the entire history of the world. If you don't know what I'm talking about, basically a couple weeks ago, Nepal's government wanted to start banning social media in a very sly way. They said that things like Twitter and Instagram and things of that sort essentially didn't meet the requirements that they have for their social media platforms, which essentially signifies that they wanted to be able to control it, right? And they can't control Twitter, so why would they allow Twitter on their platform? Same thing with Instagram, they can't control Instagram and Facebook. It's kind of crazy, just so happens to be the three social media companies that are primarily American social media companies because of who they are owned by, that they can't control because of the freedom that they give. And in response to basically these going away and to uh, everything that was going on, obviously people were in a uproar. And people in this uproar were saying it's a violation of freedom of speech, it's a violation of rights, it's a violation of basic human decency, and that we've talked about time and time again on this channel, where countries want to kind of mute their citizens, I guess you could say. You know, we already have countries around the world just in general that don't allow social media at all from their citizens. So imagine if in today's day and age, like let's say America, randomly just one day said all social media was banned and you aren't allowed to basically use the internet at all outside of like playing video games, essentially. I'm pretty sure America would also be in a crazy uproar. But this video isn't about America, it's about Nepal and Nepal's government. If you don't know what Nepal is, it is a country between, I believe, China and India that is separated from both of them and separated from India a long time ago, that is known for a lot of things, right? It's probably known for some things that you probably know yourself, but maybe you don't know they are from Nepal, including Mount Everest and the Himalayan mountains. And on top of that, a lot of those like sites that you see when maybe you like Google China or something like that, and you Google sites in China, a lot of those are actually in Nepal. And we will go ahead and I will show you some Google images here just so you guys can kind of get the idea of what I'm talking about. So yeah, obviously we got the mountains, we have like the ancient temples, we have like actual full on man, these are temples too, but there's like a specific name for them because they're more of like a partying temple, I guess you could say, than anything. Not only that, just beautiful sights in general. This is one of the biggest tourist destinations in the entire world at this current point in time. I know I am talking a little bit fast, but that's because we have a lot to get through in this video. So yeah, it's known for basically every little thing that you could essentially imagine. A lot of movies are based off Nepal. A lot of stories in real life are based off Nepal. A lot of destinations you probably want to visit in real life are based off of Nepal. And a thing that Nepal is also known for outside of this is having a corrupt government. It's just like kind of one of those things that is in the background that nobody could really ever do anything about, but like people know that that's the thing. So when they went to ban social media, obviously protests broke out. And from my understanding, the protests were very peaceful. Now, I'm going to say this information is a little limited because no matter what I did to do research, it feels like these news articles aren't doing research themselves. I'm just going to be straight up. I'm finding more on TikTok than I am on actual Google at this current point in time, outside of the Google that is taking me to Instagram or TikTok, which just isn't a news article, you know, technically. So it basically started these peaceful protests, and after starting these peaceful protests, they started kind of waving the One Piece flag. If you don't know what the One Piece flag is, we're specifically talking about the Straw Hat Pirate flag. Pirate flag, just so you guys know what it looks like. So, Straw Hat Pirate flag is a Jolly Roger with a straw hat on it, which is basically in One Piece is the symbol of freedom. It's not only the symbol of the Straw Hat Pirates, but it's the symbol of freedom, the symbol of joy, and the symbol of defiance, I guess you could say, against the government, is what it essentially stands for in One Piece in the most simple form. And when you get deeper and deeper into the lore of One Piece, you know that waving this flag in real life, if you know the real definition behind it, is essentially saying like a big up yours to the government, I guess you could say, in response to social media. But it's not harmful in any way, right? It's freedom of speech. It really is just that at the end of the day, freedom of speech. And they did not like this. So what did the government do? Well, they tried to ban the One Piece flag, saying that it was, I guess, like maybe an act of treason or something a little bit more explicit. I don't think I can say the word without this video, getting taken down or something like that. But you use a little bit of context clues here. So they saw that and they tried to ban that. They tried to ban social media. They tried to ban the One Piece flag, and then these peaceful protests no longer became peaceful because out of nowhere, basically, at least from the information I've gathered, they started to attack civilians. They not only attacked them, but they used lethal force on multiple civilians, causing many, many people to lose their brothers, their friends, their wives. And this was the end of Nepal's peace. Over the course of the basically the next, I believe, week from like I said, information shoddy. I'm sorry. I want to keep reiterating that in this video a little bit. I'll stop saying it now. So over the course of the next week, essentially, the entire country of Nepal went into a mass uproar. And people are calling this the Gen Z revolt, essentially, where people in the generation of Gen Z essentially tore down the entire government in the course of a week. Not only tore it down, but went to such lengths to where they burned down like their Capitol building. They burned down millionaires and billionaires' mansions. They were saving lives, cleaning the streets, reforming the government, and just basically essentially obliterating everything that was holding up the country from the ground up. But they still wanted to keep it clean. They still wanted it to be nice. They still wanted it to be a good location for tourists to come through. There's even videos of tourists coming through like the city as it's on fire. And they are purposely they're not standing in the road. They're not obstructing the peace in that way. They're not trying to make a regular person's life harder. All they're doing is obliterating their government. And I say that's all they're doing. That's a simple thing, but no, it's crazy. And this is where we ended up essentially getting some of the most legendary edits I think I have ever seen in my entire life. I just can't let you go. I let the world go. Let the world burn for you. This is how it always has to end. If I can have you, then no one can. I let it burn. I let the world burn. Just to hear you calling out my name. Watching it all go down in flames. Not only are these edits like going out there and just being crazy just in general, but there's also the fact that we're getting stuff like this. Obviously the real picture doesn't have this little like watermark in front of it, but this is a nuts picture. They're burning down basically what we would, I guess, consider the White House essentially in America, raising the One Piece flag as they're ripping down the country flag to show that they are in full defiance over this. This guy in this picture, by the way, he better frame this at his house. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, if I was this guy, I would have this framed. This would be like the legendary story. And it really sucks that we're not getting information on this too well. We are getting some information here and there, don't get me wrong. But for the most part, we are getting absolutely nothing to actually tell us about what is going on. It takes days to figure out if they've, you know, been doing fine or if something's happening. If basically we don't have someone from a different country reporting on it, because everybody in Nepal can't report on it at this time for the most part. There is some people here and there, but almost every single source that I've seen is either from a random news outlet, essentially being like, "Whoa, this is crazy," or has been from the singular guy who, I mean, just got the craziest like turnaround of his entire life. From my understanding, he went to Nepal to be like a little bit of a reporter on the protest, maybe a little bit of a tourist to like around, and he ended up becoming a freedom fighter for the entire country. Obviously, I'm not playing a lot of the real audios in these clips, but in the background of a lot of these real audios, there is like shots a lot. You can hear people screaming. There's shots. There's gas. There's fire everywhere. You can hear people coughing. Like, it's bad. But yeah, crazy, crazy stuff. Every single person I talk to about this has no clue it's even going on. That's how like hush hush this really is. And I hope this gets more coverage because I know that America is going through a lot of stuff too, but I don't think that means we should not report on otherworldly problems outside of like a couple articles or TikTok, essentially. I think that's kind of weird. I feel like if I ran a news station, I would be able to pump stuff out like on the daily about stuff like this. So I don't know. It's just weird to me that everybody in Nepal is doing well and genuinely their government does go through a massive change because of this. I mean, it probably will. And I hope that, I hope that this isn't something that has to happen in the future again, because that'd be just absolutely crazy. But thank you guys so much for watching. Have a wonderful night. Peace.
King Birendra once said, "Even if I die, shall my country live on?" All the youths, carry these words in your heart and engrave a monument of change in the course of history. Nepal is ours, and its future is in our hands. Jai Yuva! Jai Nepal!